Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full-stack developers. So far I've explained Vim configuration assuming a single .vimrc file. However, applying the same .vimrc file to multiple devices can cause minor issues. I prefer the dark theme, so my .vimrc file is based on the dark theme. However, this can be difficult to read on devices that require a light theme. Furthermore, if I were to apply this setting to the server, some users might access the server with a different theme than the .vimrc applied to the server. In this tutorial, I'll explain how to create and use various .vimrc templates. I'll also cover settings that are suitable for a light theme environment, which I haven't covered so far. The explanations so far have been based on the Haba Max color scheme. To compare settings based on other color schemes, let's take a look at the styles applied to Vim. The Haba Max color scheme is a built-in color scheme provided with Vim 9. However, it's not available on Vim 8. If you want to avoid environmental constraints, using an external color scheme is also a good idea. I personally recommend the Vim 1 color scheme. Managing the .vim directory as a Git repository makes it easy to retrieve the same Vim configuration, but the .vimrc file is excluded. This issue can be resolved by using .vimrc as a symbolic link to a file within the .vim directory. Currently, there's only one file for .vimrc. I'll group and manage multiple files for .vimrc within the vimrc directory. I'll rename the existing vimrc.vim file to habamax.vim. Since renaming can break symbolic links on other devices, I'll configure the vimrc.vim file as a symbolic link to habamax.vim. To ensure the same settings are applied when running Vim with sudo, the root /.vimrc is also a symbolic link to vimrc.vim. However, to change the settings in the .vimrc file, you need to change the symbolic links for both the logged-in user and the root user's .vimrc files. It's better to reduce the number of management points to a single point. I'll change the root user's .vimrc to a symbolic link to the logged-in user's .vimrc. Currently, the .vimrc file only has a template based on the Haba Max color scheme, but I'll add a template based on the Vim 1 color scheme. The 1 color scheme supports both dark and light styles. I'll work on the dark style first. Let's change the color scheme to 1. Setting the background to dark applies a style appropriate for the dark theme. Let's change the line numbers in the 1 dark color scheme to a monochromatic color. The cursor line background color in the 1 dark color scheme is black, so if you don't remove the Vim background color, the cursor line might be difficult to distinguish, so let's change it to a slightly lighter color. The 1 dark color scheme displays the background color in the sign column, so I'll remove it. The special keys in the 1 dark color scheme are black, making them difficult to read, so let's change them to a slightly lighter color. There are now 2 templates available for .vimrc. Currently, I'm using the Haba Max template as a symbolic link. Let's change it to the 1 dark template. Since the symbolic link already exists, I'll need to force its creation using the F option. Let's open the .vimrc file. The color scheme has been successfully changed to 1 dark. Let's take a look at the overall style using a 1 dark color scheme. For environments using Vim 8 or where the Haba Max color scheme isn't available, 1 dark is a great alternative. I personally prefer the dark theme, so I've configured it to work well with it. I'll also add a .vimrc template for the light theme. The Ubuntu palette only supports the dark theme. Switching to the light theme doesn't change the style. I'll switch to a palette that supports the light theme. The GNOME palette supports both dark and light. Some LSD results are difficult to read in the light theme. Since I'm discussing Vim, I'll address this later. I'll copy the one dark template to the one light template and configure it. I'll open the one light template. Currently, the one dark template is applied, so some styles are difficult to read in the light theme, and the colors for the cursor line and air line are too strong. Setting the background to light will apply the style appropriate for the light theme. The line numbers are too dark, so I'll change them to a lighter color. I'll also change the cursor line to a lighter color. I'll change the split line and status line colors to gray. I'll also change the special key color to a lighter color. I'll also change the match parent background color to a lighter color. I've converted the one dark template to a light theme style, but some styles are already provided by the one light color scheme. Rainbow is a package that distinguishes nested parentheses with different colors. However, the light theme's pale colors make them difficult to read. Let's set them to dark colors. For readability, I configured rainbow conference line by line, but they should be set to a single line. I'll escape them with a backsplash. I'll also adjust the indent guides dividers to match the light theme. I'll also adjust the Vim buffet colors to match the light theme. There are now 3 templates available for .vimrc. I'll apply the one light template to .vimrc. Open the .vimrc file. The color scheme has been successfully changed to one light. Overall, a calming style has been applied, perfect for the light theme. I've always stuck with the dark theme due to preconceived notions, but the light theme also feels quite sophisticated. Now, even when using a terminal emulator with the light theme, I can work in Vim comfortably. However, LSD's colors make some text less readable in the light theme. LSD allows you to set custom color themes in the colors.yaml file, but there are too many settings to configure. I'll use a custom color theme from GitHub. I'm using the solarized theme. The solarized theme offers both dark and light modes. Let's download the YAML file for the light theme. You can copy the contents of the YAML file, but I'll copy the raw data link address. I'll download it to the .config/lsd directory. The custom color theme must be a colors.yaml file. The colors.yaml file was successfully downloaded. You must set the color theme to custom in the config.yaml file for the settings in the colors.yaml file to be reflected. Now, the LSD colors will look great in the light theme. Up to this point, I've explained the settings based on a personal PC environment. In a server environment, multiple users may access the server, so various theme environments may exist. The server environment should consider both dark and light themes. Suppose LSD and Vim are configured for a light theme on the server, and a user using a dark theme accesses the server. In LSD, the dash symbol indicating no access permissions is not readable. The older date also appears blurry. Since it's not known whether a user will access the server using a dark theme or a light theme, the server shouldn't be configured to use a specific color scheme. Let's edit the colors.yaml file. Comment out all the slightly darker gray colors. Now, all LSD colors work well in both the light and dark themes. LSD's icons use glyphs from Nerd fonts. Since some users may not have Nerd fonts installed, it might be a good idea to disable icons on the server. However, I won't configure this here. It won't cause any major issues, just broken icons. Since I might need to use Vim 8, I'll create a template for the server side .vimrc file based on the one color scheme. Personally, I prefer to keep Vim's background color from the configured palette, but on the server, it's better to display a background color that matches the theme set in the background. Black is displayed in dark mode, and white is displayed in light mode. This means that if Vim has a background color, it won't be affected by the user's color mode. Let's apply the one server template to .vimrc. Open the .vimrc file. Since the terminal emulator's current theme is dark, a one server template based on a dark theme color scheme is bound to have a good color match. Let's change the terminal emulator to light. Let's reopen the .vimrc file. Since Vim's background color is black, regardless of the terminal emulator, styles based on the dark theme color scheme work well. The black cursor tends to be slightly difficult to see in the light theme, but this isn't a major inconvenience. Adjusting the cursor line background color can make the cursor more visible in the light theme. However, since ANSI colors are limited to 256 colors, you might need to use a somewhat more vibrant background color, which will actually distract the user's attention from the cursor line. Vim's icons also use glyphs from Nerd fonts, but I'll ignore the settings for users who don't have Nerd fonts installed. Adding the .vimrc templates has changed the files managed by Git. I'll push them at the Git repository. Adding .vimrc templates to the Vim configuration has the advantage of allowing you to use various .vimrc settings without being affected by other devices. I will explore ways to more easily switch between .vimrc templates and consider how to support this in Vimy. Thank you for watching.